They told me the first cigarette is always the easiest. They never talk about the thousandth, the 10,000th, or the one you light when your wife is crying in the next room and you can't think of anything else to do with your hands. My name is Edward, 70 years old, lung cancer, stage 4. I'm not afraid to say it anymore because it's already said everything it needs to. My voice sounds like gravel and air. My chest feels like it's filled with smoke, even when I haven't touched a cigarette in months. You'd think quitting would make me feel free. It doesn't. It feels like walking out of a burning house and realizing everything you loved was still inside. I started smoking when I was 17. My father smoked. My uncle smoked. My friends smoked. In our town, a cigarette was a handshake, a way to say, "I belong here." I used to carry a pack in my shirt pocket like it was part of my identity. Marlboro Red, the color of rebellion, the smell of adulthood. When I turned 21, my girlfriend, later, my wife, Claire told me she didn't like it. I said I'd quit. I even tried. I lasted 3 days. She said she understood. That stress from work made it hard. That's how excuses are born. Softly, with love. I worked in construction for 35 years. Long days, heavy lifting, dust in the lungs, noise in the ears. Cigarettes felt like small breaks of silence. You light one, take a drag, and for a few seconds, it's just you and the smoke curling into the air like a prayer. I'd stand outside at dawn with the other men, our breath and smoke mixing in the cold, and it felt like belonging. That's the cruelest part of addiction. It doesn't always feel like destruction. It feels like connection, like routine, like something you've earned. Claire used to beg me to stop. She'd wave articles at me, pamphlets from the clinic, stories on the news. I'd tell her she worried too much. I'd say, my father smoked till he was 80. That was true. But my father didn't do well. He coughed for 10 years, wheezing through every breath until the last one. I remember watching him die and thinking, I'll quit before it gets that bad. Then I lit one in the parking lot after his funeral. I told myself it was for the nerves. That's how we justify the things that hurt us. We call them comfort. When my daughter, Megan, was born, Claire made me promise again. I tried patches, gum, hypnosis. I made it 6 months that time. 6 months of clean lungs and short tempers. I snapped at everyone. I told her she should be grateful I was trying. She told me she just wanted me alive. I said I'd quit after this stressful season. After the project ends, after the holidays, there's always another after. You think you're buying time, but really you're trading it away in installments. The first real scare came when I was 65. A cough that wouldn't leave. A small spot on the X-ray. Early stage, they said. I promised the doctor, Claire, and God that I'd quit for good, and I did for a year. I went to therapy, joined a support group, started jogging. I felt good. Then one night, after a bad argument with my brother, I drove to the gas station and bought a pack. I told myself it was just one. I told myself I could handle it. One turned into two turned into a habit. Regret doesn't announce itself loudly. It creeps in quietly, like smoke under a door. When they told me it had come back spread. In fact, I didn't cry. I didn't even react. I just sat there nodding like I'd expected it all along. The doctor was kind, too kind, like they teach them to be when they've run out of good news. He said there were treatments, but not cures. Comfort care. That's the phrase they use. It means, we'll keep you comfortable while you fade. It's strange how fast comfort turns into a punishment when you finally understand it. Claire was with me at every appointment. She never said I told you so. She just held my hand. When we got home that night, she sat in the chair by the window, quiet, for a long time. Then she said, "You always thought quitting was about willpower. It's not. It's about love." I wanted to tell her I loved her more than cigarettes, but I realized I'd never proved it. Love is action, not intention. Mine came too late to matter. The treatment started. Chemo, radiation, pills. Each one made me smaller. My hands shook so badly I couldn't even light a cigarette anymore. Maybe that's mercy. I used to joke that at least the cancer cured my addiction. People laughed politely, but I could see the pity behind their eyes. I didn't deserve pity. I deserved honesty. The truth is, I thought I was immune. I thought death happened to other people, to the weak ones, the unlucky ones. We all believe we're exceptions until the statistics catch up. The nights are the hardest now. I wake up coughing, gasping, reaching for air that doesn't come easily anymore. The machine beside my bed hums like a metronome, counting down the rhythm of my mistakes. I think about the people I work with, some dead, some still smoking, all of them convinced it won't happen to them. I wish I could visit them, sit at that same work site and tell them the truth. You can't negotiate with your body. It always collects what it's owed. Megan visits often. She's 42 now. Nurse? Funny how life turns like that. Your child grows up to save people from the same choices you made. She's kind, but there's a quiet anger in her eyes. The kind you get when love has been forced to forgive too many times. She holds my hand during treatments, checks the monitors, talks about her kids. She tells me she makes them close their eyes when they pass a smoker on the street. They don't need to see it. She says, I don't tell her that I used to say the same thing about my father. Sometimes, when she leaves, I sit by the window with the oxygen tube in my nose and think about what I'd say if I could go back. I'd tell that young man behind the gas station, "You don't need this to feel strong." I'd tell the middle-aged man at the construction site, "Go home. Hold your wife's hand instead." I'd tell the older man who thought he could quit tomorrow, "There's no such thing as tomorrow when it comes to habits like these." But the truth is, none of those versions of me would have listened. We don't listen to warnings when we still believe in our own invincibility. The thing about dying slowly is that you have a lot of time to think, and none of it changes the outcome. You start to understand that the punishment was never the disease. It was the years of thinking you had control. Cigarettes don't kill you in one moment. They kill your possibilities. The hikes you never take because you're winded. The games of tag you can't play with your grandkids. The laughter that turns to coughing fits. The simple joy of taking a deep breath and not feeling pain. That's what they take first. People tell me I should forgive myself. I'm trying. It's not easy to forgive someone who ruined your own lungs. But I suppose this is what redemption looks like in the end, telling the truth, so someone else doesn't repeat it. Addiction isn't about weakness. It's about loneliness. Every cigarette I lit was a conversation I didn't know how to start, a way to fill silence I was too afraid to face. If I had learned to talk, to sit with discomfort, to breathe without needing smoke, maybe I'd still have a voice that didn't sound like sandpaper. If you're listening to this and you still smoke, I'm not here to judge you. I understand the ritual, the comfort, the need, but please, understand this. Cigarettes are patient. They don't rush. They wait. Every pack is a promise you make with your future self. And one day, he'll have to keep it. You'll wake up coughing, and you'll think it's nothing. You'll tell your wife you're fine. You'll tell your kids not to worry. Then one day, you'll be sitting where I am, counting breaths like currency, wishing you could afford one more deep one. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just tired. I used to think smoking helped me deal with stress, but now I see it was the stress. It owned my rhythm, my mornings, my moods. When I quit, the world felt empty because I had built it around smoke. But you can rebuild. It's hard, but it's possibly. Start small. 1 less today, 2 less tomorrow. Replace it with something that makes your hands busy and your lungs grateful. Drive. Walk. Breathe. Just breathe. I sometimes wonder what Claire would say if she were still here. Probably nothing. She'd just hold my hand and look at me the way she always did, like she already forgave me long before I deserved it. Maybe that's love. Maybe that's what's left when all the smoke clears. So here's my last confession, and maybe my last gift. The most dangerous part of smoking isn't that it kills you. It's that it convinces you life isn't worth quitting for. If you can still breathe without help, you have time. Time to quit. Time to love better. Time to take a walk without coughing halfway through. Don't waste that time like I did, because when the air runs out, it's not death that hurts. It's the memory of every breath you took for granted.